What's going on, Godzirra Nation? This is Arghgodzirra. Welcome back to another installment of Arghgodzirra'S Top 10, where I throw together a list and we discuss it in the comment section down below. And with the decade drawing to a close, I thought we'd take a stroll down memory lane together and take a look at not my top 10, but this time around, my top 20 video games that defined my decade. Now, I say my decade for a reason, as the selections that are going to be in this list may be completely different from selections that would be deemed the best of the decade in general. The best example of explaining what I'm trying to say is a game like Minecraft. While it's revered worldwide by many gamers, I personally have never played Minecraft before. So when it came to putting this list together, I stuck with the formula I've made my previous top 10 videos with and remained faithful to selecting the titles that I have personally played. So remember, if a title hasn't been selected, it's not because I don't think it's worthy of being on the list. It's because I have not been able to get my hands on it and played it within the last 10 years. And I know my opinions are going to be completely different from yours. So I'm opening it up to you guys yet again in the comment section down below. Let me know what you feel have been your favorite video games from the past 10 years. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Number 20, Overwatch. Blizzard took the hero shooter and reinvigorated it with their first intellectual property in almost 2 decades. And they came out with something to prove, and not only did they prove they could do this, they knocked it out of the park, and absolutely took the world by storm. The art style made for a game that was visually appealing, teamed with a roster of heroes that has not only been ever growing, but are packed with their own personality and unique abilities that instantly helped this game stand out against the multiplayer shooter market.
No.
Number 19. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Your whole life you've been searching.
I found it hard to tear myself away from Horizon Zero Dawn even well after I'd completed the main story. Piecing together Aloy's past while taking on robotic dinosaurs with a crossbow in a post-apocalyptic style universe was right in my wheelhouse. Its combat is its most compelling feature, especially given the numerous number of creatures that await you in the middle of the proverbial ring. While its story provides 2 unique paths, learning about the present world you're currently living in, whilst uncovering the past that Aloy is having trouble remembering. This is a title that continuously keeps on giving, and will be imprinted in my memory for a long time to come.
But it's safe. Out there, girl. You'll be lost.
Number 18. Marvel Spiderman. There's no denying when it's come to superhero video games, they have been hit and miss, especially when it comes to some of the Spider-Man titles we've been given in the past. Yet they came out, they being Insomniac that is, and gave us Marvel's Spider-Man, which stands up as not only one of the best Spider-Man experiences you can have in a video game, but one of the best superhero IPs you will ever play. I'm hoping that this is the beginning of the turnaround, and the future Marvel installments that we get from this point out can draw inspiration from this beautifully crafted game and continue on a strong legacy of Marvel-style video games. Number 17. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Don't let a single one get away!
If the promise of having every single Super Smash character to ever be showcased returning for this one game wasn't enough, throwing in all the new playable characters or hundreds of collectible spirits was the cherry on the cake. There was a lot of hype for this game to live up to, and it did that in leaps and bounds. Whether it be playing through the game's story mode, or battling online with your friends to determine who can throw down the best, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is just that, the ultimate experience. Number 16. League of Legends Teamfight Tactics. It was probably a little bit stiff to miss my best video games of 2019 list, and thank you to Mick10 for bringing that to my attention. But I am really loving playing Teamfight Tactics. I didn't think I would get invested in playing games like League of Legends, but I have found myself secretly and very quietly picking up the mantle and playing League of Legends on the side while I belt out Teamfight Tactics. It is the one game over the last few months that I solidly play on repeat over and over and over again. The grind is real, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get to one of those top tier placings, don't you worry about that. And if auto chess as a genre is something that you find fascinating, I highly recommend diving into this game, because Teamfight Tactics is definitely one hell of an experience. Number 15, Days Gone. I don't know how many times this year I have talked up this title, but I'm going to do it again because I absolutely loved it. For a title that generated a lot of negative press when it comes to reviews, I instantly fell in love with Days Gone. I don't know whether it's because I likened its storytelling to The Last of Us, or some of the characters visually and their arc development remind me of characters from the television series The Walking Dead. But there's just so much to love about this game. Whether you're just traversing the mountainside on your bike, or you're running away from 500 freakers coming at you at one time, Days Gone provides a horror experience that, although niched within an overly saturated zombie genre, does enough to stand on its 2 feet as its own unique experience that I think everybody needs to undertake.
You're afraid to be here. You're afraid to be a part of something. We need you here, and that scares the hell out of you.
Number 14, Heavy Rain.
Are you prepared to suffer to save your son?
When it comes to video game experiences where choices determine the outcome, Quantic Dream absolutely take that mechanic and knock it out of the park. And at the forefront of those titles, I personally place Heavy Rain. I still remember the first time I sat down and played this game, and just the character development and the tension that is built and the want to save young Sean's life is absolutely incredible. I found myself invested in wanting my characters to be the best form of themselves, that if I made a wrong decision, I'd quickly try and hit reset so I could go back and make sure I was on the right path. But this game is a game that provides so much emotional distress, it is not funny. If you haven't played this game before, ladies and gentlemen, I highly urge you to check it out, because it is definitely one of a kind when it comes to this specific genre. Number 13, God of War.
Oh, there. Do I see my father?
Shifting the tone of a franchise is always going to be hard, but the navigation of the shift that this particular title undertook brought about a more intimate experience while maintaining its visceral familiarity that we have seen in past God of War games. And whilst the focus shifted to a more limited experience in relation to previous titles, strong performances by the cast and a rich exploration of mythology helped enforce a truly phenomenal experience that earned this title the moniker of Game of the Year.
Where must we go?
To a realm beyond your own.
Number 12, Bloodborne. While games like Dark Souls came before it, Bloodborne brought a Victorian horror feel to the fold, which made myself enjoy this experience vastly more. Which, for a game created to drive you insane with rage, I'm surprised I'm using the word enjoy. It differentiates itself from similar titles with its combat system, which lacks defensive maneuvers and highlights quick combat movement with encounters, while its blood-soaked lore, grotesque monsters, and plague-riddled cityscapes. This title presents a unique experience that I was so happy I dove into. Number 11. Mass Effect 2.
No one wants to admit it, but humanity is under attack.
BioWare, oh how you used to bring beautiful games to life. Mass Effect 2 was executed with absolute brilliance and is without question the best installation in the franchise, having refined mechanics from the original which felt a little bit clunky to players. Without needing to have played the previous installment, Mass Effect 2 provided a unique take on the RPG genre which, up until this point in time, I hadn't experienced within a video game before. Teaming with side quests to keep you distracted long enough to forget what you were actually supposed to be doing, an ability to bring in new unique companions to your team, this title will remain the pinnacle of its time.
Take the fight to the collectors in person. Looking forward to the action.
Number 10. Telltale's The Walking Dead.
Well, I reckon you didn't do it then.
Going back to games where choices matter, the Telltale series of The Walking Dead is absolutely phenomenal, not to mention the very first installment. I found myself attached to characters Lee and Clementine so quickly. Kenny was also a lovable character, and the fact that I'm a huge Walking Dead fan just made this experience even more greater. The art style is absolutely incredible. I love what Telltale do when they piece games like this together, and this is absolutely one video game experience I think every gamer should experience at least once.
Yeah, I want my parents to come home now.
I think that might be a little while.
Number 9. Batman Arkham City.
Or does that outfit help bury your feelings, hiding your true self?
Breaking away from the confinement of Arkham Asylum, the world was gifted Batman Arkham City, combining the Batman lore with a truly brilliant open world experience. Playing as the world's greatest detective, you undertake an adventure riddled with surprising side quests and a truly gratifying storyline that will have you lurking in the shadows exclaiming, "I'm Batman."
I assumed that you thought yourself untouchable.
Number 8. Resident Evil 2 Remake.
This may be a one-way ride, so be prepared, Leon.
If you haven't caught my best video games of 2019 top 10 list yet, Resident Evil 2 Remake is the game that I selected as my game of the year for 2019. And whilst that might bring a little bit of controversy to the list, the Resident Evil 2 Remake is not just a remake of a classic original Resident Evil title, but it does so much on its own unique precipice to make this title a standalone Resident Evil installment within the franchise, giving more screen time to characters like Ada Wong and Sherry Birkin, creating new locations within the universe that we have not yet seen in the original games, fleshing out some of the characters a little bit more, adding unique twists to the monsters that we've come to know and love. This is truly one of the best Resident Evil experiences that Capcom has ever brought into the fold.
I have a pretty damn good idea.
Claire, get out. Get out now!
Number 7. Fallout 4.
Contact with our affiliate stations. Stand by. We do have.
The Fallout series has always been one of Bethesda's strongest IPs, but Fallout 4 took them to a whole new level. Its settlement building mechanic being the factor that helped push this title into the forefront within its genre. I honestly think I've spent more time personally building settlements and recruiting settlers for those settlements than I have actually playing the storyline of the game. But when you do get around to playing the actual story, you aren't disappointed because you're presented with a character arc that is cleverly pieced together, companions who add unique personalities to your experience, and did I mention settlement building? Number 6. Grand Theft Auto 5.
Bring me my coffee, I'm gonna cut your arm off.
I have been a fan of the Grand Theft Auto series since I picked up Grand Theft Auto 3. And with each installment that has come out since then, I've just fallen in love more and more with this franchise, but none more so than I did with Grand Theft Auto 5. I think the only other Grand Theft Auto game that rivals 5 for myself is San Andreas, and I think that's with a lot of fans of the franchise. But what knocked it out of the park for me with Grand Theft Auto wasn't just the character dynamics of the three main characters of the storyline, but it was Grand Theft Auto Online that took this to a whole new level. Being able to run around with your friends in Los Santos, hosting heists, racing your cars, just bringing absolute destruction to the city. It's everything a team of mates wanting to get together and having a laugh want to be able to do in a video game universe. And Rockstar delivered that in absolute spades.
Shot, amigo.
Number 5, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Every now and then a game comes along that defines a generation, and when it comes to the generation of the Nintendo Switch, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is the penultimate of that console. Going from a rather structured universe to something presented in such a beautiful open world landscape was absolutely breathtaking. And being able to do some things that we have never been able to do within the Legend of Zelda universe before was absolutely brilliant. I can only hope that other IPs within Nintendo's grasp can draw from this experience and only make their experiences better. One of the best games I have played in a very long time. Number 4, Red Dead Redemption 2.
We don't want to kill any of you, but trust me, we will. Wake them up a little!
It had a lot of hype to live up to because the first Red Dead Redemption was absolutely phenomenal. But Red Dead Redemption 2 borrows tropes from the original in characterization, compelling dynamics, and a strong sense of place, with Rockstar polishing it into an experience that, although a sequel, definitely stands alone as a one-of-a-kind experience. Rockstar's dedication to this title is well noted, being without a doubt one of, if not their best, release of the decade. Thank you, Rockstar, for doing this franchise due diligence and not dropping the ball, because I still am thoroughly enjoying running around in the frontier, getting up to all kinds of mischief.
Sure, we can have fire. And we can have the knowledge of fire. But with that comes the knowledge of everything.
Number 3, The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. This, in my opinion, is Bethesda Studios' magnum opus. Skyrim is a beautiful combination of rich lore, vast wildernesses of opportunity, and an endless amount of possibilities. Whether it be slaying dragons, mastering spellcasting, aligning with another alliance, which includes a dark battle between vampires and werewolves, or exploring the beautiful open world that Bethesda has created, Skyrim will forever stand as one of the greatest fantasy role-playing games ever forged. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I did just make a blacksmith reference. Number 2, The Last of Us. The Last of Us up until this point is the torchbearer for having the best storytelling in video game history. In my opinion anyway. Drenched in atmospheric tense horror combined with stealth-based combat mechanics, The Last of Us presents a phenomenal experience which visually is absolutely stunning. I feel having this title in the number 2 slot doesn't do the game justice because this is definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and one that will forever stand at the forefront of being one of the best video games ever created. You can't tell I love this game, huh? Before we get to our number 1 slot, there are a few honourable mentions that didn't make this list that I still want to cover anyway. And while we're at it, if you haven't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button and pledge your allegiance to the Godzirra Nation while hitting that little bell next to it to ensure each and every time a brand new video hits the channel, you guys get notified straight away. But how about we bring up those honourable mentions on the board before we get to our number 1 slot.
What the hell was that?
And every single action
I just saw someone at the cabin.
affects your fate
Very funny. Guys, come
and the
on.
fate of those around you.
Hard evidence. Come on, we have a clue. A motive?
What's in it for you, Cole? More glory?
So what do you want? You don't know who the fuck I am.
What are you doing? Get that gun away from me, psycho! No!
That's why you have to handle this mission yourself. How and where? Well, that's up to you.
Enemy presence detected.
Am I dead?
You are banished from death. A curse binds us together.
Who are you?
I shaped the history of Middle-earth.
Number 1. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This, in my opinion, is the penultimate of role-playing games. It is a true masterpiece and triumph of game development. No location within this game lacks lush environmental designs. No quest feels out of place and without its own difficulties. The character development and dynamics throughout are brilliantly delivered. This game comes together in one of the most complete experiences of not only the decade, but of all time. Not to mention, Geralt of Rivia is a bona fide badass, and his popularity is only going to escalate with the now worldwide renowned Witcher series on Netflix. Toss a coin to your Witcher, folks. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My top 20 games that defined my decade. Could be completely different from the games that defined yours, so as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below what game or games defined yourself personally within the last 10 years. I hope you did enjoy this list. I am enjoying diving into doing this kind of thing. I cannot thank you guys enough for the feedback on the first 2 videos. I'm hoping the same goes for this and all future installments that come to the Arghgodzirra'S Top 10 series. As I mentioned earlier, if you're new to the channel and haven't already, it'd be hugely appreciated if you hit that subscribe button and pledge your allegiance to the Godzirra Nation, and hit that notification bell so you get notified every single time something brand new hits the channel. I'll put the first 2 top 10 lists in the description down below, so if you haven't caught those, feel free to go do so. It'd be hugely appreciated. Whilst you can also hit me up on social media, I'll put those links down in the description as well. But that's it from me, guys. I'm out of here, and as always, I will catch you guys next time.